Hi, everybody. It's another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin. It's Thursday, July the 8th. And as always, I'm joined on the Winner's Circle by my cohort, Mr. Chip Chirimbus, who's in Las Vegas for one more day, folks. So if you're out in Vegas and you want to get a glimpse of one hell of a handicapper, you got 24 hours to do so because he's back to Florida tomorrow. Chipper, how are you, buddy?
All right. Actually, I'm going to be back in New York tomorrow and Florida on Tuesday. I'm going to make stopping my mom's 96th birthday tomorrow, July 9th. Imagine that.
God bless her. Yeah, and again, this is getting off kilter here, but your mom is still alive and you're 72. My mom is 80 years old and I'm going to be 64 next week. So we're very fortunate is what I'm trying to say. Not a lot of guys our age, let alone two on the same podcast at our age can say our mothers sports. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Chipper, things have been heating up for you of late. Fill the folks in a little bit. Tell them how you're doing, where they could find you, how they could reach you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you, Ross. In Major League Baseball, I came out of a 1-3 little stub my toe weekend and hit 5 straight megabuck winners. Back up, Ross, with an overall record. Even at this point, I'm taken back, and I'm so fortunate. 58-29, 67% with my single strongest play, my megabuck release in Major League Baseball. I come up with one virtually every single day. And, we're on a roll right now once again. And I just, you know how it is when you're like this, you feel invincible. And, you just can't wait to look at the overnights or whatever. And I've been lucky too, because I've been traveling, Ross. And usually that's,
I went through that a couple weeks ago. I hear you.
A little cloud over your head when that happens, and you don't quite have the time or see things the same way. But it's been working out, particularly in baseball and NBA as well. 14-6 actually the last 20, and I'm happy with that 70% mark.
That's fantastic. Again, that's 58-29, folks, with his best bets. He usually gives out one of those a day in each individual sport, no more than one. Myself, I'm almost pale in comparison to Chipper, but I'm doing pretty damn good with my 10-star top plays, which are the equivalent of Chipper's megabucks plays. I've gone 69-44 with my last 113 10-star top plays, folks. It's good for 61%. No matter how you cut it, no matter how bad your math skills are, I think you could figure out you're going to make some money. And again, folks, I want to remind you, I could speak for both of us in that regard. When it comes to money line betting, you're not going to get big chalks from me and Chip. Right. I like to say that I don't like to even approach the minus 140 mark. On occasion, I'll give out a 140, 143. If I really like a big chalk, I'm not afraid to use the run line, as opposed to Chip, where we differ, is there's times I'll pass and not use a 10-star top play that day. And I never give out more than one 10-star top play in each individual sport. So we're a little different in that regard, but it's the same concept, and the results are pretty good. So like Chip likes to say, there's what's that saying you use? There's more than
one way to skin a cat. And, I've known so many different handicappers all over the time, Ross, that do things so differently and look at games that I never would consider. And they're very successful. And you just have to respect where they're coming from and understand that, combining two winning systems isn't a problem at all. And, as I talk to you, I talk to others, we share information and we don't always agree. But, you're on a leaderboard and I'm on a leaderboard. And I told you before, I'm pretty happy with what we've got going here. So maybe we can come up with a major league winner for, this weekend's action.
Okay. And they could find you, Chip, at?
I'm at chipwins.com. And of course, like I said, for the most part, it's a one game thing on the website, unless you want to know what we're going to be doing. Give me a call. My phone number is there, 702-931-CHIP, 702-ROSS, 2447. And I'd even give you a special price too.
And I'll accept it. You could find me at rbwins.com. Right now, sports capping has me number 4 in the NBA for the entire season. in money earned. Major League Baseball currently number 10, and I'm on a 12-5 roll. As a matter of fact, at Sports Memo, I am number 2 in Major League Baseball, the number 1 overall handicapper in all sports since the 2021 calendar year began. So you're dealing with a couple of guys that know what they're doing, folks. And sometimes we get a little flack for these free picks, and people have to understand, and we're going to touch upon this too. Understand this, folks. It's really not fair for us to be giving out a pick on these free pick videos that our paying clients receive. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody can understand it. Having said that, it's usually a pick we're giving out is an almost qualifier,
Yeah.
for lack of a better phrase, right, Chip?
Well,
And
yeah, I think so. I mean, it isn't like we don't like the game.
Yeah.
I'm looking not to use my top play on a day ahead of time, getting caught in the switches, and I'm looking for something that's palatable for the public and something that I think has got a chance to win that I may not use with my regular customers in my service overall.
and understand this, this particular podcast, we're subcontracted by another company, OSGA. And in respect to them, we need to get out plays early so there's more time frame for these videos to be viewed. And I was talking to Chipper about this off air, that I've never been a believer of get your picks up early. The longer the store is open, the better the chance you have to winning. I don't do well by giving picks out early. Now, having said that, I've done well with the free picks, but overall, if I had to give out multiple picks days in a day in advance, my theory is this: if I do it the same day, even if it's 4, 5, 6 hours before game time, if you win, what's the difference?
Isn't this more of like a first impression?
Yes,
I mean, we haven't really had that much time to scan and go over, and I've come up with a few numbers and things to supplement our opinion, and but otherwise, like we said, we're a little bit ahead of time here, but we're still doing a pretty good job with this, and it actually gets me looking ahead of time, and it gets me so that I could digest and absorb what's going to be happening in 24 hours. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't think it hurts me at all.
We're a combined 4-1 over the last 3 videos, and I say 4-1. It's an odd number because we were both on the same game last week that lost. But 4-1 over the last 3 videos, I think that's pretty darn good. And there's a distinct difference between. I don't want to sound contradictory, but there's a distinct difference between getting something up in the NFL and college football, as opposed to college basketball, the NBA, and money lines in Major League Baseball. And quite simply put, the drastic line movements we see in college basketball and the NBA, the lines could move as much as 2 to 3 points. Very rarely do you see that in the NFL. So basically, from the opening line that you see on a Sunday night to a couple days ahead of time, there's not going to be that much of a drastic difference in a move. You might see a 1.5 a point. Sometimes in college football, you'll get a 2-3 point move. But my point being, you have a longer time to assess the opening line until the time the game kicks off, right, Chipper? As opposed to,
I think, like I said, though, I think it helps in regard that it gives me a little bit more time to scan and see what I'm going to be doing the next day, and maybe I missed something early and it'll settle in.
I mean,
the game I like Friday, Atlanta is at Miami. Miami's coming off really having a great series against the Dodgers, and they're doing a tremendous job down here. I don't think they're quite as strong as they were last year, but they've got some young arms.
Yes, they do.
Ross, they put the bat on the ball, and they're up against a veteran here, a 14-year veteran, Charlie Martin. He's 7-3 on the year. And, Ross, I was checking his stats. He's been around 14 years, but it wasn't until like 2016, 17, 18, he won 14, 15, 16 games. And all of a sudden, Ross, he went where he was striking out. He went from 85 to 190 and 200 strikeouts. And he's really maintained and become better as he's gotten older. His ERA is 3.91. And for Miami, the same Zach Thompson, he's 2-2. He's only pitched 25 innings. He hasn't gone more than 4 1/3. I mean, I love it when I keep hearing these guys saying, well, he's only given up one. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in his last 6 starts. Well, he was only going 3 innings. I mean, what are we looking at here? But, he's young. And, Mattingly seems to always even Jeter's moving these guys from somewhere. And they're always, I think, underrated a little bit. I think they're probably better fundamentally than a lot of other teams. But Atlanta has their number. They really do. They are 13-5 at Miami most recently, and sometimes teams do it. They have a team's mojo, and then it'll swing back maybe another time later. And that's why they all even. We were talking about trends, and they say all even out, and but right now it's 39-17. Atlanta's dominance over the Marlins. I remember a time when Chipper Jones was there, how they would dominate the Mets. And certain teams have other teams' number. And I'm thinking that the beat goes on here, and Sonny and Cher are going to give me a winner with the Braves.
Yeah. So you like Atlanta -140 over Miami on Friday, July 9th. Remember, folks, we are taping on Thursday the 8th. So these lines are subject to change depending on when you view the videos. I mean, to touch upon Chipper's pick and to elaborate a little bit on what he said, Miami. The key word there is young, because even like you just alluded to, Chipper, if you see a pitcher like Chip just touched upon that's averaging between 4 and 5 innings per start, which unfortunately is a regular thing.
He hasn't gone 5 yet. He has 4 is his longest outing so far. So 24 innings in like 7, 8 starts. What have we seen so far?
Right. Well, where I was going with that was that's why you have to really take a look at how that team bullpen is, whether it be how they've done for the year and how they've done over the last week. I mean, I put a lot of emphasis on recent bullpen performance rather than the big picture. Now, there's a lot of teams that have been consistent all year in the bullpen, like the San Diego Padres, for example. They've been fairly consistent all year and very good all year. Miami, Chipper, from living down there, their bullpen has been real good at points for a week or two. And then when they go off the rails for a period of time. So that I attribute that to you. So anyway, Chipper likes the Atlanta Braves with Charlie Morton -140 over Miami. And Charlie Morton's really come a long way. I mean, he was on some pretty bad teams in Pittsburgh when he started his career, right? He
has 100 career wins, I think, only 84 losses. And you said, he didn't win double digits until, maybe 5 years ago.
Sometimes it's just a matter of a guy growing into his own body. He started out young,
Strikeouts. The difference in the strikeouts was dramatic. I mean,
that is dramatic. And the game has changed a little bit. Guys don't value putting the bat on the ball as much as they used to. Their contact hitters are pretty much thinking of pass, right, Chip? Everybody's
he won at Houston, he won at Tampa, and now he's in Atlanta, and they're 42 and 44. They're going to play better, I think, the second half.
Yeah, there's too much talent there and too much offensive firepower. I'm going to take a look at the Oakland and Texas game. Now, Cole Irvin gets the start for the Oakland A's, and he's been a little bit up and down this year, but for the most part, he's been pretty good. And over his last 3 starts, Irvin has posted a 2.25 ERA, a 1.00 WHIP, and Oakland's gone 3-0 in those 3 starts. And he's going to be opposed by Jordan Lyles, who's not very good, in my opinion. He's had some good outings this year, but if you look at his overall resume, he's easy to fade, especially at this number, where Oakland's just a 131 favorite on the road at Texas. 7 starts at home this year for Lyles, a 5.50 ERA and a 1.69 WHIP. And that 1.69 WHIP tells me that he's even fortunate that his ERA is only 5.50. It looks like he's wiggled out of a lot of jams. And Chipper, in the month of July, throughout his career, Jordan Lyles is 2-18 in his team starts in July. So again, people will say, well, that's coincidental. It's not coincidental because it tells me when the weather starts getting real hot
Yeah.
and you're 3 months or so into a season, a pitcher starts to wear down a little bit. And that seems to be the case with Lyles. And 2-18 team starts in July. Folks, that's not a fluke. Also, Texas, they're going to be facing a starting pitcher in Cole Irvin, who's got tremendous control. He only walks 1.12 hitters per start. That's outstanding control. And by the way, Texas this year, 9-25. They are when facing a starting pitcher that walks 1.75 or less men per start.
There you
And
go.
obviously, Irvin falls into that category. So Oakland minus 131 over Texas is my free play for Friday, July 9th. Chip Chirimbus likes the Atlanta Braves minus 140 over the Miami Marlins. Chip, or any final thoughts before we leave?
Just stick with the discipline and play your best game each and every day with you or me. I mean, our best bets are just crushing out there. I'm at Chip Wins, you're at RB Wins, and .com where we get you some cash, I guess.
Yep. So be sure to check out our websites. Again, you're talking two guys who are at the top of the standings and most websites they're on. They post that. So again, chipwins.com, rbwins.com, both of those sites, you pay a little to make a lot. Until the next time, for Chip Chirimbus, I'm Ross Benjamin. Good luck and God bless, folks.